Well, I think in both cases, particularly in the case of cloud computing, we've passed the tipping point. So it's not a question like some of the earlier initiatives like ASPs and various other things of when it will happen. It's very clear that the entire technology and telecommunications world is now reshifting, not actually much more quickly than most people thought, toward a pay-as-you-go model. So whether you call it cloud computing or you call it software as a service, it's very clear that there's a cycle of adoption and the infrastructure's in place for people to rent or to take as a service what otherwise was an installed product. I think in the case of cloud computing, the people whose business is targeted, small businesses and medium-sized businesses, are likely to see the adoption of cloud-based services accelerate and probably occur faster than many people think. I think the opposite is true for consumers. I think a lot of people that expect that suddenly consumers will now necessarily not expect to download software, do other things that are fairly familiar behaviors. I think that will probably take longer than people think. In the case of mobile advertising, I think the difficulty that we have there is even though the technology is in place, the consumer behaviors around what is acceptable and how to kind of appropriately monetize the very small amount of real estate that's available. A lot of those business models have still not been established. So I think the value chain is not very clear there. Well, I think possibly the most important other megatrend for the next 10 years or so is what was a slightly dirty word, which is convergence. I think because all of these formats at the end of the day are all digital formats, we actually see, for example, very traditional businesses like outdoor advertising being reinvented with new business models because of the ability with large display, large format digital screens for people to have new business models, so interactive things with the ability not just to target customers and measure things a different way, but also to interact with phones as you pass, for example, a screen outside the Westfield. So that convergence of different business models, which is really the promise of everybody being on the same technology platform, is going to play out in a bunch of different interesting ways, and it's got to be the biggest other important trend.